Let's dive right into part 16 of our deep analysis, Signals of Status. Today, we're decoding the hidden physiological signals of power. We are looking at something so deeply hardwired into our biology that you do it 100 times a day without even realizing it. We're going to unpack the psychological and physical signals of status, and trust me, by the end of this explainer, you are never going to look at a simple social interaction the exact same way again. So, have you ever wondered why your brain can walk into a room and instantly recognize who's in charge? Just think about it. You step into a meeting, a party, or a classroom, and almost immediately you know exactly who holds the power. You don't need to see their resume. You don't need to hear their job title. Your brain is rapidly scanning clothing, posture, vocabulary, and these subtle social connections, literally piecing together a complex hierarchy in the blink of an eye. And what's really fascinating here is that this rapid adjustment isn't even a conscious choice on your part. It is a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. Within seconds of perceiving someone's rank, we unconsciously alter our own behavior. We might stand a little straighter, change our tone of voice, or just defer to their opinion. It's a total automatic reflex. To really get why our brains make these split-second decisions, we have to strip away all of the modern comforts and travel back to the ancient environments where our brains were actually built. Because look, in the prehistoric wild, failing to recognize the alpha instantly could literally cost you your life. For more than 95% of human history, we lived in small, tight-knit hunter-gatherer bands. In that intense world, challenging a dominant individual could lead to violent punishment or being completely expelled from the tribe, which basically meant certain death. So this intense evolutionary pressure forced our brains to become these hyper-vigilant status scanners, because your social rank determined your access to food, protection, and mates. But here's the twist. Status isn't just one single ladder you climb. Evolutionary psychology tells us it's actually split into two very distinct pathways. This gives us what's called the dual strategies theory. Dominance is the oldest strategy. It takes power through intimidation, physical force, and coercion. It induces fear. Prestige, on the other hand, well, that's earned power. It's freely given by group members in exchange for a leader demonstrating valued skills, sharing knowledge, and acting generously. Essentially, you fear a dominant leader, but you genuinely admire a prestigious one. You can even see the deep philosophical roots of this split throughout history. Contrast the classic Machiavellian ruler who relies on fear and coercion with the Confucian role model who leads by generous example. Machiavelli famously said it's far safer to be feared than loved. Confucius argued a leader should be modest in speech but exceed in actions. Both are completely viable, evolved strategies for navigating human hierarchies, but they trigger vastly different emotional responses in us as followers. All right, so we understand the two strategies conceptually, but how does this physically play out in our bodies and our voices in the real world? It turns out your body betrays your social rank through three very specific subconscious microsignals: vocal pitch, bodily expansion, and the angle of your head. When someone walks into a room, your ancient brain is furiously processing these cues to instantly map out the hierarchy. Let's break these down one by one. First up, the voice. Research actually shows that humans will unconsciously lower their voice pitch when they interact with peers to signal authority and command the room. When someone wants to establish control or assert a dominant position, their vocal cords literally adjust to project a deeper, more resonant sound. It's a primal signal of physical formidability. Then there's bodily expansion. This is the literal act of taking up more physical space to project power and pull behavioral submission out of followers. Think of that executive spreading their arms wide across the boardroom table, or someone standing with their feet planted firmly apart. By expanding their physical footprint, they're signaling a high capacity to win resource contests, and our brains instinctively register that cue, often responding with subconscious mimicry or submissive posture. And here is where it gets incredibly subtle, but absolutely crucial: the head tilt. Prestigious leaders will actually tilt their heads upward, exposing their neck, which signals pride, openness, and a willingness to share expertise. Dominant leaders, however, signal their status with a downward tilt, lowering their brow to create a much more intimidating, coercive stare that basically demands compliance. Now, to really grasp why these specific physical signals hold so much power over us, we have to look back at our ancient evolutionary history. We definitely didn't invent these behaviors in modern corporate offices. Because this dual model, it is not unique to humans. We see it all across the mammalian kingdom. Dominance is perfectly exemplified by alpha male wolves or baboons ruling by force. But look at the prestige side. Elder female orcas and elephants lead their entire pods and herds, not through violence, but because they possess the crucial survival knowledge of where to find food and water. The group voluntarily follows them to survive. Here is the real kicker, though. Our ancient brains dynamically switch preferences based on our environment. When a group faces an external threat, war, or economic uncertainty, followers naturally seek out dominant, physically formidable leaders to protect them and enforce order. But during times of peace and stability, those exact same followers will shift their preference toward a prestige-based, cooperative leader who prioritizes harmony and sharing knowledge. So, how does this primal instinct show up in our modern world today? Well, despite all our modern claims of equality, our institutions, from massive corporate boardrooms to government bureaucracies, right down to social media algorithms, they are completely built to satisfy our biological obsession with hierarchical rank. We invent job titles, corner offices, and follower counts to recreate the exact same status structures our ancestors used back on the savannah. And this is a really profound point. Your brain remains deeply, fundamentally sensitive to rank, absolutely regardless of your political ideology. Whether you lean left or right, when faced with the unpredictable chaos of the world, humans have a psychological drive to seek out a safe haven. We project a huge desire for security onto charismatic authority figures, willingly elevating them to manage our cognitive load and just keep us feeling safe. So, knowing exactly how your brain is being hacked by these ancient physical signals every single day, I want to leave you with this to chew on. Think about the person leading you right now. Do they rely on the fear of dominance or the respect of prestige? Watch their head tilt tomorrow. Listen to the pitch of their voice. The signals are literally everywhere once you know how to look for them. Keep your eyes open, and thanks for exploring this with us.